I think the impetus was to, at one level, was to change the conversation. I mean, we've been reacting to this coalition was formed to, try to address these preference policies, and we needed a coalition so, we could have a rational debate about these issues in terms of talking to politicians. I think what happened in the process is the other industries have been continued to be in a reactive mode, and it seemed, and as we've got to know each other and like each other, it's time to not be in the back seat, it's time to be in the front seat. It's time to lead, and we need to step up, we need to change this conversation, and we need to do it in a civil way, and we need to get the subject matter in the discussions back to talking about facts and the things that we can agree upon. There's a lot that we can agree upon. And whether it's concrete and steel together, and love to have wood come to the table, but this just makes sense for the future. In terms of the Wood First Initiative, it's what I've been trying to say is the emperor has no clothes, and that the resources that have been set aside to promote Wood First is really being directed to lobby activities in the rest of Canada and parts of the United States. So it's been less about preference policies and more about just a government paying people to lobby for this Wood First initiative, and I don't think that's a good use of public money. I think that money would be much better spent promoting wood products from an export perspective, and not trying to pit one sector against another, because that's counterproductive, and it's not good for the industry. And the question is how all the materials work together, and there's lots of room for wood in that. And I thought we had lots of examples of that from Larry McFarland's presentation. That you can't build without concrete, but you can't build the concrete without wood, and steel is integral to all the pieces. So the idea that one building with one material over the other is just it's illogical thinking is what it is, and not good public policy. What we tried to do is to take a look at what's the future, where are we going, and this was very future oriented. Looking at I think what Phil Williams did at the beginning was say, look at how things are different in California. And what Phil was saying, that in their the relationship to their suppliers, all of this data that they use in designing now, those 3D diagrams and how data rich that is. I mean, essentially, his idea of writing the checks, he's now, his concrete suppliers and all of his suppliers, have to provide these EPDs and this kind of information. So he's changing that dynamic. I think we're starting on that path in British Columbia. I think the larger companies are thinking about how to organize their supply chains. I think California is maybe a few years ahead of us there, but the market's changing, and that's why these preference policies don't make any sense in that market. And the public sector market in reality isn't that significant. The real market, this is being driven by the private markets, and so I'm confident the kind of future we've talked about here is what's evolving, but we need to understand. The role of the design engineers and the role of the contractors are changing, and the suppliers have to wake up. They have to realize that they've got to start looking at life cycle analysis and getting the data and making investments into EPDs and health product declarations and environmental product declarations. That's the future, and you either get in front of the future. These things are inevitable. These things are built into pathways that are inevitable. So you either get with the future and figure out how to make money, or you may not be in business.